Hello and welcome to Tax Matters. It's good to see you again this week and we hope you're keeping safe. We'll begin with news coming out from the Tax Professional House in Lagos. Yes, Tax Professional House, the Secretariat of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, CITN, where 4 men and women just emerged as members of council. Also on this episode, we are going to bring you the full interview with Professor Abiola Sani, Professor of the Law of Taxation at the University of Lagos. We'll be discussing the impact of COVID-19 on tax administration in Nigeria and matters arising. The CITN held its 28th annual general meeting on Wednesday, the 3rd of June 2020. In keeping with the dictates of the time and government social distancing regulations, the meeting was held virtually with principal officers and a few members physically present at the venue, while other members joined by Zoom from all over the world.
The 14th president of CITN, Dame Gladys Olajumoke Simplis, I hereby confirm that a quorum has been formed for the purpose of conducting the 28th annual general meeting.
Major highlights of the 28th annual general meeting were the address of the president of the CITN and the election of new council members. In her address, the president reviewed the operating environment in the period under review. Among other things, the president expressed the displeasure of the CITN at the introduction of the Nigerian Police Trust Fund Act and the bill seeking to impose 9% communication services tax before the National Assembly. Giving an update on membership, Dame Olajumoke Simplis announced that membership of the institute has grown from 22,491 at the last induction to 23,081, with the newly admitted members waiting to be inducted once the COVID-19 lockdown is lifted. In a keenly contested election, Mrs. Ruth Arokoyo, Mr. Kolawole Babarinde, Mrs. Cecilia Odibo, and Mr. Adetunde Oretuga emerged as members of the Council of the CITN. Here is wishing the new council members successful tenures. Tax Matters spoke to the president of the institute. What is the essence of this gathering?
Yeah, it is to give a scorecard, to let our members know what have been the strength of the institute in the last 1 year, what have been the weaknesses of the institute in the last 1 year. We can't keep it to ourselves, but we need to let them know so that they can tell us, okay, these are the things that you have done. We agree with you. These are the things that you need to do. So we also need inputs from them to let them know that they are not just being there, we are accountable to them. So we are accountable to them, and that is what we are doing. We are giving accounts of what we have done.
To the new council members, she gave this charge.
I expect the new council members to key into the activities of the institute. Well, if you look at what we have done in the past year, without being proud, I want to say that we have done very well. Without blowing my trumpet too much, I think we have done very well. I will expect them to key into those activities and improve upon it. As council members, we do the policy of the institute. We just don't want to do the policies. We also want to be seen to be acting on those policies. And what are the policies? Policies of quality membership, policy of quality direction, policy of taking the institute to the next level, policy of globalizing the institute. That is what I will expect from them. As they come in, we have only 1 returning council member. 3 of them are new. When you come into a new place, you have new ideas. I will expect them to bring in their new ideas. There must have been some things that they have seen that made them to contest to come to council. Those things that they want to do, I will expect them to bring those things in. That is what I expect from them.
This kind of nonsense has to end today. Why would the bank be removing somebody's money every time like that?
Mr. John.
My neighbor!
Yes, sir. Why are you rushing to like this?
Can you imagine? I just sent money to my son, and I got a debit alert of 15 naira from my bank as stamp duty. I am going to seek explanation from my bank because I made a transfer, not post a letter.
Mr. John, let me explain what stamp duty is. Stamp duty is not all about postage stamp matters. The 15 naira is a stamp duty levy charged by banks on customers who make transfers of 10,000 naira and above from one bank account to another bank account.
And why should I pay stamp duty for my hard-earned money?
Mr. John, paying stamp duty levy is a civic duty for every patriotic citizen. The taxes we all pay are collected and used by the government to pay salaries and provide basic amenities for citizens. It's even easier to make stamp duty payments now. All you need to do as a taxpayer is to log on to the following: www.stampduty.gov.ng or www.firs.gov.ng and click on e-stamping. By the way, Mr. John, it pays to pay your tax, you know.
Oh, thank you very much.
Sir.
Thank you, my daughter.
You're welcome,
My
sir.
regards to your family.
All right, sir.
This broadcast is powered by FIRS, Federal Inland Revenue Service.
Welcome once again. Now to our guest corner. We have with us on the program Professor Abiola Sani, Professor of Commercial Law, University of Lagos. Professor Sani, thank you for joining us on Tax Matters.
Thank you for having me, Amaka. Good to see you.
We want to discuss tax administration within the context of COVID-19. What are the major issues, or what would you say are the issues this pandemic has thrown up?
Thank you very much. The COVID pandemic is a global issue affecting virtually all facets of life, and taxation cannot be an exception. But one thing we need to reinforce is the inevitability of taxation, because people will be thinking that amidst of these calamities, why talk about tax at all? There are people who will say, what are these people talking about? You see, safety is the first most important thing. Then after safety, taxation. And that's why it is said that there are two certainties in this world, taxation and debt. So having said that, tax administration will continue. So in good time, in peacetime, during pandemic, during war, during disaster, during depression, taxation is inevitable. So the tax administrators will leverage the instrumentality of taxation. There are people who have never received a call from the tax authority now who will do so. So people must get ready. And then the major effect on tax matters generally is that all the taxable activities are frozen, although there are few exceptions. And by that I mean taxable events are reduced, except for few businesses or sector that are experiencing a boom, or what I call bonuses at this time. So taxable activities in terms of buying and selling, in terms of making money, all this will impact income tax, is also going to impact VAT, because the less people consume, the less revenue for government. Then most importantly for me, maybe as a student of fiscal federalism, there will be less for us to share at the federation account. So the monthly meeting, we might get to Abuja very soon, and then there is little or nothing to share, which brings to the fore the need to decentralize taxing power and ensure that all taxing authorities are able to develop their potentials, so that at a time like this, they will hold their destinies in their hands. Because there are so many things that lower taxing authorities may want to do, but that they cannot do, because most of the power is concentrated. Then also, there is going to be effect on people accessing the tax authorities. Until recently, when there is relaxation in the lockdown, people who wanted to pay cannot even pay. So offices of business owners have been locked, and also that of the tax authorities are locked. So thank God that the new FIRS boss and his team had focused on electronic filing, and they are trying to deepen it and all that. So for the big filers, that is the major tax contributors, the 1% or 2% who are contributing almost 98 or 99% of the revenue, this is not going to be a major issue, because I don't think there is any large taxpayer today who has not really perfected online filing and payment. So there are quite a lot of implications for the taxation and the tax authorities. I just hope that we are going to see this as a challenge and then develop strategies on how to overcome the obstacles.
Sir, the FIRS released its first quarter tax collection report for 2020, which we believe was really commendable. Amidst this COVID-19 pandemic, they were still able to collect such amount of money. Now, for second quarter, which we are now in, the whole of April, we were on lockdown, and now we're already far gone in May. Do you think the FIRS will achieve the target set for it by the federal government?
In fact, I was really delighted to see that outcome, and this is very commendable. It shows that the team knows what it is doing, and then once you settle down and you know what you are doing, things can only get better. The challenges for the next quarter will be a bit different, but we have highly resourceful, highly intelligent manpower at the FIRS and some of the state boards, and this is the time that calls for innovation, and I have no doubt that they will ride on top of the situation. In terms of the outlook for Q2, it's going to be a lot of challenge, and government have to be charitable to FIRS in terms of expectation. There is no doubt the current management has shown what it is capable of doing. I mean, if everything is on a lockdown, you don't expect magic. But in any event, we have to look at what is doable in a framework of 12 months. And that is why you have a running budget for 12 months. So you could have a downturn in a particular quarter and then surplus in the rest of it. So we have to be very hopeful.
We are hopeful.
We have to.
Now, what do you think about the response of tax authorities with regards to matters affecting taxpayers during this lockdown?
What FIRS has done, to my mind, are things within its power, although they call it palliatives, but I won't describe it as such. They are not as far-reaching as if there is a refund to those who have outstanding refund, I can say, oh, that is palliative, and they can still go that far, notwithstanding the problem of the challenge of revenue on their part. So, but they have done extremely well in relaxing the rules, because what has occasioned delay are quite beyond the thoughts or the power of the taxpayers. In law, we call it force majeure. That is the act of God. So if a taxpayer is not able to meet its obligation during this period, the natural thing to do is to extend the time within which to do it. So that's the noble thing to do. And the issue of electronic filing, that has been on. If we had foreseen a time like this, we would have, or we should have moved faster as far as leveraging technology is concerned. But you know, there are issues of finance, there are issues of funding. I don't think any tax authority in Nigeria, including FIRS, can claim to have all the money it requires. Technology doesn't come cheap, so you have to pay for it. If we had perfected our technology, the challenges would have been easier to surmount, in my view. Like I said, they have done well enough within the limits of the law. The only thing I want to suggest in general is that they should leverage concession. They should leverage concession, and then by that I mean what lawyers will call they should temper justice with mercy. So then they should focus more on those people who are the one delivering most revenue. And like I said, they are usually in the range of 1% to 2%. So they should try and offer them support to make sure that they pay more quickly. And also, there should be something big coming for small businesses, because a lot of businesses have been badly impacted. Some have closed. Some will not be able to come again. Some are laying off staff and all that. So I expect some creativity in a kind of reliefs. And if we look around other countries, there are certain reliefs designed for period of depression. So there are reliefs in form of grants, in form of addressing job losses. I mean, government, short of putting money directly in the pockets of people, not to retrench or to hire new staff. So we can borrow from some of these practices. Then generally, I expect stakeholders whose businesses have been impacted to come out as groups to put forward what they want. Because at the end of the day, it's all going to be a question of consensus. But interest groups must be very, very loud in championing their causes, in highlighting the effect and the impact on the industry, and also what they need from government. Because government is a silent partner in all businesses. So in terms of good return, government is going to get good money. So, and when boom or depression comes, government should also support. So I will be interested in tangible support from government in terms of tax reliefs and incentives.
We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, Professor Sani will still be here discussing matters arising within this pandemic period.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. Guy, what happened? This COVID-19 is not easy on my business, so my client just put the project on hold. Imagine that one of last week. They cancelled it. And I am scheduled to call my tax officer next week. What do I tell him?
Relax. FIRS has it sorted already. That's why they issued palliative measures to cushion the effects of COVID-19 on taxpayers. Remittance of VAT, which used to be on or before 21st of every month, has now been extended to the last day of the month. FIRS also states that it's imperative that companies whose revenues are in foreign currency and personal income, tax returns for foreign affairs, non-residents, military and police, immediately check their website for important updates, as well as information on late returns penalty. All supporting documents can be submitted later to the tax office for all those who cannot access email facilities. There are lots more. From now till further notice, FIRS says all taxpayers can now take advantage of its simple, user-friendly and robust e-filing process to submit their documents online instead of visiting tax offices. Dedicated email addresses for each of the offices are available on their website, www.firs.gov.ng. Stay safe and comply with all the guidelines issued by the government so that together we can make Nigeria working again.
This broadcast is powered by FIRS, Federal Inland Revenue Service.
Welcome back. We still have with us Professor Sani discussing matters surrounding taxation amidst this period of COVID-19 pandemic. Professor Sani, welcome once again.
My pleasure.
Now, what lessons have we learned for the future? I mean, what will taxation, tax collection, tax administration look like post-COVID-19?
Well, nothing is going to remain the same after this period. We have to just leverage new ways of doing things. Otherwise, we are going to become irrelevant. So this also applies with equal force with taxation. So the issue of tax policy has been sorted out. So we now need to implement the policy. If we had approached the implementation of the national tax policy seriously, we could have done better during this challenge and also after. But it's never too late, because policy and law and administration must cohere. They must unite in order for you to have because we have to provide adequate funding for the tax authority to function. They won't be able to do any magic without money. So, and we need to thank God that we had the Finance Act shortly before this problem. Okay. But we now need to move towards the implementation and then look ahead for a holistic reform of our tax system. By holistic system, I mean we need to implement what is already in the national tax policy. We used to have a national tax policy implementation committee. We need to ramp that up and then run with the vision. So that is the template that will deliver a new future that can withstand the challenges of either COVID or whatever will come after COVID.
The government have promised a yearly review of this finance bill. Now, how do you think this current situation will affect the next year's bill?
Well, in terms of Finance Act 2020, we must look ahead and then look at areas that will be impacted. And I'm happy that there is an ongoing effort to already do all the homework. And also, if there had been any error in the Finance Act 2019, then the error should be corrected in the 2020 Finance Act. Then I hope the 2020 Finance Act will be taken so seriously that it will be passed with the Appropriation Act, so that we won't have some of the challenges that we had after the passage of the 2019 Finance Act. But in terms of the contents, I look forward to a more robust Finance Act. Because if you look at the 2019, it was like a CETA Amendment Act. There were some significant taxes that were barely touched. So we should have something that is holistic, something that will address most of the issues that are of concern to taxpayers, that are of concern to the tax authority and other stakeholders.
Thank you very much, Professor Sani, for sharing your insight with us. It was really, really good talking to you, sir.
Thank you very much for having me. It's always a pleasure to be on Tax Matter.
Yes, and we hope that when next we call on you, you will oblige our call.
I'm a slave to tax issues. Anywhere they are talking tax, I will sign up. So why not?
Okay, sir. Professor Sani there for you. Always a pleasure talking to him. We thank you most sincerely for watching. Let's do this again next week on the same station, same day of the week, same time of the day, and online on our social media handles. Bye for now.